Okay, I do hope that you hear me now. Actually, we have some technical problems, and because today is a very special day, because today is Thanksgiving and the United States Embassy is closed, so we're running our live stream from the American corners, and we had here some technical problems. So I will start from the very beginning, and from the place that we stopped, and I think that one of you commented that we stopped at overweight baggage. So sometimes it happens that you come up with overweight baggage. It's this one, okay. Or oversized baggage. There are specific airlines that have specific restrictions about the kilos that you can carry on the board, and you result in oversized baggage or overweight baggage. So in such cases, the best thing to do is to pay specific money, and you can ask about that, like saying how much is the oversized baggage, or how much is the overweight baggage fee, and sometimes when you come up to the check-in counter, you may hear specific questions like, where are you flying, or what is your final destination? And you may also be asked, like, are there any baggages that you want to check? And if you answer affirmatively, then the next thing you've got to do is to be asked to place your bag on the scale. Or you may also hear questions like, can you open the bag, please, in case they think that there is something dangerous to be carried on the airplane. Or, for example, they may ask you, are you carrying any flammable or flammable materials or firearms? In this age, when there are a lot of terroristic acts all over the world, you may also come across a question like, has anyone given you anything to carry on the flight? Or you may be warned not to leave your baggage unattended, and it means that they are asking you not to leave your bags without without your watch. And sometimes it happens that the flight is actually cancelled. It means that there is no flight, the airplane is not going to fly, or the flight is delayed. If the flight is delayed, it means that your airplane is going to fly at a later time. So and sometimes you may be carrying specific objects that might be breakable, and in such cases you need to ask the officer to stick a specific tag on your luggage, and that is fragile. You can ask, like, can you please stick fragile tag on my luggage? Okay. And finally, you've got to be given a place to sit in the airplane, and that might be really depressing sometimes for me in particular, because you may have specific concerns about the place of your sitting, and in such cases you may ask the officer to give you, for example, an aisle seat. Let me hold so that you see it. An aisle seat, or a window seat. Window seat is the one very close to the window. There are many people who choose this very place, that is, for example, to enjoy the view or something of the kind. And the aisle seat is the one which is closest to the row, to the actual passage. I particularly like to travel and to have my seat as an aisle seat. Okay, and when you successfully pass through the check-in procedure, the next thing to be done is to undergo security check. Actually, security check contains two machines. The first one is the X-ray machine, and the second one is the metal detector. I have a card for you. So if you let me hold so that you see it. Okay, so this is the X-ray machine, and this is the metal detector. So the woman is passing through the metal detector. And at certain airports, there is another layer of security, which is the body scanner. This is the body scanner. So it's an object, and the officer runs with it over your body to check whether you have anything dangerous or not. So you can see an X-ray machine, and by the way, this is called a conveyor belt. A conveyor belt is a kind of a belt where you place your luggage, and your luggage is scanned once again. And after you pass through the check-in, the security check, you go to the gate. Actually, very big airports may have different terminals. And every terminal has a number of gates. A gate is the place that leads you directly to your flight. That's the passage which leads you to your specific flight. And when you're standing at the gate, you may hear specific announcements. For example, you may hear an announcement like, there has been a gate change. It means that the flight will leave from another gate, and it means that you've got to quickly find the place where your flight is flying through. Or you may also hear a statement like, for example, United Airlines flight 761 to like say Chicago is now boarding. It means the boarding has already started. It means you can already go on board the plane. You may also hear a comment like, please have your boarding passes and your identification ready for boarding, because for you to be able to get on the plane, you need to show your boarding pass. Remember, the boarding pass was a paper that allowed you to get on the plane, and your identification card. And sometimes you may hear a statement like, for example, this is the final boarding call for United Airlines flight 123, for example, to Chicago, which means that this is the very last stage. It means that that's the final opportunity for you to get on the board. And sometimes you may hear a statement like, for example, passenger Armen Harutyunyan, please proceed to United Airlines desk at gate, for example, 12. The final thing that everyone is looking for, that everyone seeks to hear, is have a good flight. Or another version, you can hear have a happy landing. Once you get on the plane, you come across people. Specific people in specific uniforms, and such people, and these people, they are the flight attendants. Okay, they are the flight attendants. And there is a specific thing about flight attendants that is a bit different than in Armenian. For example, in Armenian, we have two different words that is the same word but like two gendered versions. You have bord ughektsort, and you can also hear bord ughektsort-uhi. And in English, you have the same. That's the same. That is a flight attendant, which doesn't have any gender restriction. And these people, they are very important during the flight because they help you during the flight, and they help you put specific things on your overhead bin or overhead locker, and they may come up with requests that you fasten the seat belts and anything of the kind. Before I pass on, before I proceed to the next stage, we've got a question, and Narine is asking, can the ticket be business and refundable, or only one of them? Well, actually, if that's a business class ticket, most of the business class tickets are always refundable. If you come up with a non-refundable tickets, mostly they are quite cheap. But in case of business class tickets, first of all, they are not like very widely available. Second, if that's a business class tip, it means that is more expensive and that's a higher level of service, and mostly in higher level services you can get your money back. That is, the ticket can be refundable. And thank you for the question. And in the meantime, please, if you have any questions, if you produce any questions, you're welcome to come up with them. So, and inside the airplane, there are always specific announcements that are made, and we're not always very attentive to them, but they are quite important. You may hear an expression, a statement like, please turn off all the electric items during the take-off and the landing. Take off, it means that's the very first stage, that's the initial stage of your flight. That is when the airplane starts flying, and your landing is the section of the flight when that's the final section. That is the section when you land already. Or you may hear like, please turn off your mobile phones during the flight. Or you may also hear you may also hear a statement like, please stow your hand luggage in the overhead locker or under the seat in front of you. And during the flight attendants always stand in the center, and they show and they come up with emergency announcements. They might say, for example, the emergency exits are located here, here, and here, and they are showing you the emergency exits. And once the flight has already started, the pilot mostly announces the weather forecast, and he might say, for example, the temperature at our destination is a pleasant 25 degrees centigrade, or for example, the same temperature in Fahrenheit. Or if the weather is not that positive, you may hear a statement like, we're approaching an area of turbulence. That is an unfavorable section that the airplane is going to enter. And when the flight is coming to its final stage, that is, you're on the point of landing, the flight attendants may say, for example, please put your chairs into an upright position. It means that you've got to bring your chair back. Then you may hear a statement like, please open all the blinds, and the blinds are generally on the windows. These are things that close the window. They may say, please open all the blinds. Or you may hear a statement like, please stow your tables ready for landing. It means that you've got to close the table that is in front of you, because when you land, the table should be closed. And quite often, at least I have come across such situations that before the airplane lands, the passengers pick up their luggage and go straight to the exit. No need to do that. This way or another, you will leave the aircraft. You don't have the chance to stay inside the aircraft. So you may hear a statement like, please remain seated until the airplane comes to a complete standstill. All the expressions that I mentioned are going to be uploaded, and you will have them all. We have another question. So Amala Tumasan is asking, is there a difference between American and British terminology? Exactly, there is a specific difference. The simplest example can be like check-in desk, check-in counter. There are different versions, but since both words exist in general vocabulary, you can I think you can understand both of them. And of course, there are specific differences. Well, the airplane lands, and there comes the most stressful section of your landing, that is of your trip, that is going through the customs. And when you go through the customs, you might hear many questions, and this is the part where you have to explain why you arrived in the country and tell the officers what your intentions are and things like that. So here you may also be checked whether you are carrying illegal things, whether you are carrying, you know, flammable things and things like that. You may hear statements like, do you have anything to declare? Generally, you declare things that are of specific importance, things that are of specific value, or precious things, or cash. I mean money, big sum of money in cash. You may also hear statements like, where are you traveling to? So you've got to come up with the place of your destination, final place of your destination. Or you may hear a statement like, how long are you going to stay? What's your address in the United States, for example? Or are you traveling alone? And many other things. And the most important thing is that you've got to answer all of them, because these are the gates to the country, and you've got to obey all the rules of the welcoming country. Once you successfully pass through the customs, you reach a very big hall, which is called the baggage claim. And in the baggage claim hall, there are many conveyors, carousels, conveyor belts. So this one is a conveyor belt, a carousel, and the most important thing here is not to stand next to a wrong carousel, because that's a big hall, and you've got to pick up and you've got to stand close to the specific carousel that brings out the luggage of your very flight. If you've got questions, then you're welcome to come up with your questions. But I want to say that today is a very important day in the United States. Today is Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is a time for many people to give thanks for what they have. And this is an annual national holiday in the United States and in Canada, and people celebrate their harvest. People express their gratitude for the blessings that they have. It is mostly celebrated on the fourth Thursday of November, and today is the fourth Thursday of November. Thus, today is Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving has a specific, menu which is really very tasty. And the symbol of Thanksgiving is, most importantly, turkey. You can also see, pumpkin pies or cranberries, stuffed bread, potatoes on a typical Thanksgiving table. And it traces back to 1621, and that's a celebration dating back to 1621, when the religious refugees from England, known mostly as pilgrims, invited their local Native Americans to celebrate to celebrate the harvest after a particularly successful growing season. The thing is that the previous year there had been great problems with the harvest, and many of the pilgrims died, and the local Americans helped them to help some of them to grow the harvest, and they showed how to, for example, grow corn, beans, squash, etc. Thus, the pilgrims invited local Americans to express their gratitude. Before we finally wrap up today's session, I want you to come up in the comment field. I want you to come up with statements why or what you're thankful for. I will start from my person. I will say that I'm thankful for the peace in Armenia. That's very important for us. And I'm thankful to all the people who preserve the peace in Armenia. Before we wrap up the lesson, I want once again to remind you that we meet every Thursday. That is, our next meeting is going to take place on the 13th of November, Thursday, 5 o'clock. In case you need the keys to the previous lesson assignment, I want quickly to pass over the exercises that we had previously, in case there are people among you that are interested. So exercise 1, that was matching. So the first one runs like, I will put you through, and that's D, answer D. This is Alice Anderson, and that's G. Would you like to leave a message? And that's C. Peter calling, and that's E. Can I ask who is calling? And that's A. Could you hold the line? Answer is B. I'm afraid Miss Smith isn't available at the moment. That's F. I'm sorry, the line is busy. That is H. And exercise 2, hello, Frank and Brothers, how may I help you? This is Paul Jackson. Can I have extension 3421? Certainly. Hold on a minute. I'll put you through. Bob Peterson's office, Franklin speaking. This is Paul Jackson calling. Is Bob in? I'm afraid he's out at the moment. Can I take a message? Yes. Could you ask him to call me at, and the number? I need to talk to him about the Nuovo line. It's urgent. Could you repeat the number, please? And there are no more left. Okay. So another question, like Karen Parikyan. Yeah, that's a kind of a comment. He says, fasten your seatbelt, please. Well, yeah, so probably he was reminding that one of the most important comments on the plane is that you may hear fasten your seatbelts. Exactly. One of the most important things is to fasten your seatbelts because you don't know what may happen during the flight. Better stay in safety. So I'm very thankful for your attention, and once again I want to express my apologies for our technical problems. So we once again, I'm sorry, we've got one more question. Okay, so Karen Parikyan is asking how he can get the exercises. Immediately after the lesson, we're going to upload the exercises, we're going to upload the vocabulary, the active vocabulary, and we're going to upload certain dialogues. So immediately after the lesson, you will get them, dear Karen. So once again, thank you for your attention. Excuse us for today's technical problems. That's technology, that happens. Don't forget that we're on Facebook and everything may happen. Thank you for your attention. See you on Thursday, the 13th of November at 5 p.m. Goodbye.